So you see, managers take a lot of decisions based on the data. Definitely, you are going to become successful managers very soon. So it makes sense for them to check whether you can organize that entire information given and accordingly come to a conclusion about the given question which is being asked. So definitely the tricks that will be involved is calculation, uh, estimation, comparison, etc. At the same time, you need to understand these are also set based, and so it makes sense for you to interpret the data well, uh, understand the logic, then look at the question, filter the portion which is relevant for you. um, okay, and then write the correct expression pertaining to the question, and then the calculation part. Right, so if I can summarize whatever I said regarding your skills which you need to develop during data interpretation, I would like to tell you that these are some of the things which are very very important for you, as you can see on your screen. So as I told you that you need to calculate, you need to do estimation, you also need to compare, and definitely in a set based questions, as I discussed in the last class also, you need to be you need to spend the time required for the basic interpretation of the direction before you look at the questions. And then definitely what makes sense for you to look at the nature of the data, look at the fact whether there is any logic or the way it has been presented. Okay, spend enough time with the data before you look at the question, just for the sake of your clarity, understanding, and comfort. And then you can definitely filter the necessary information. Okay, to understand the question and answer the question, you need to write the expression correctly and then you need to calculate. So I will be showing you one such set. It will be a big set. So my apologies for the text size if you feel it's too small, because of the fact that I had to accommodate a lot of questions which I would like to take up and discuss. So at first, in case it is very small, you can zoom it with the fingers if you're attending from mobile phone. Otherwise, also you can take a screenshot, and then you can zoom the picture and try to understand what has been asked, and accordingly you can answer the questions. All right, please go ahead and try this and share your answers one by one. Take time, take sufficient time to understand the table. Okay, only after that try to answer the questions. All of you, please get going on these questions. So I'll go one by one. But before I get started with the discussion of the questions, let me make one point very clear to you all. In most of these exams, usually they do not uh, allow you to use calculators or any calculating device. So most of the calculations that we do should be mental, or in that sense, it has to be as short as possible or as quick as possible, because on an average we should not spend ideally more than 2 minutes per question. Even 2 minutes is on the higher side. It has to be 1 to 1.5 minutes. But then when I explain you, probably it is going to take some more time, because my job is to make things clear in front of you. But I'm sure when you practice this at home, or when you do these questions in the exam hall at the time while doing that, you are not expected to explain to anyone. So you will understand after you practice. It will shorten your time per question basis. So let us look at the questions one by one. Over here, if we notice, first of all, they're talking about sales of these top six car manufacturers. So when they say sales, it may mean two things. It may talk about the number of units or the quantity, or it could also talk about the revenue or the price or the income. But then, had it been about income or revenue or price, there would have been some monetary entity like Indian rupees or US dollars, but we don't see any of those. So that confirms the fact that all these numbers are based on the quantity sold. Also, if you notice, so we were talking about sales. Now, there are top six. So that means there are other car manufacturers also. The data are not available over here. But this table talks about, the top six out of all the industry players. Definitely, there will be other players, but their numbers will be lower than this. And all these data are in hundreds, which means for each of these data, there will be two zeros at the end, but they are ignoring all those things and they are just giving the data in hundreds. So we should assume by default that there will be two zeros at the end of each of these data. And also, if I look at the table, if I focus on what is written inside the table, on the row headers, we have these names of the car manufacturers. On the column headers, we can see that they're talking about 5 consecutive financial years. And if I look at the numbers, these are all in integers and these are ranging from somewhere in 506 to almost 12,000. So we can understand that is the range of the data. And in most of the cases, if you notice from top to bottom, the numbers are decreasing in most of the cases. There are exceptions, but definitely we can just have a general view. Now, these are certain things that I am doing just to develop some comfort, with the nature of the data or the way it has been presented, so that we are in a position to get the answers faster. Now, let us look at the first question itself. In the first question, they're talking about top six car manufacturers, 80% market share. Okay, then what is the market share of Mahindra? Now, if you look at the options are not that close also. For example, the options are not like, 6.5%, 7.2%, 8.1%, 8.9%, not like that. So there is sufficient gap between the options. So that should trigger my mind that we can probably apply approximation. Now, how do we apply that? Now, you see, we are talking about 2008-9, which means we are talking about the second column, of course. And now we should look at the numbers by shortening the numbers. That, see, because we are more comfortable to look at lower numbers, definitely we need to first, understand what is the sum of all these numbers, because then we can understand top six car manufacturers have 80% market share. But before that, we need to understand how much does Mahindra contribute out of these six companies. So the way we can do that is by ignoring the two digits from the right for all this data. If I do that, they will be consistent. Now we can add from the lower part: 7 plus 7, 14, 14 plus 16, 30, 30 plus 23, that is a 53 plus a 29. Now you see, instead of 29, I will say let it be 30, because a round of figure gives me more convenience to add, right? So where am I? We were at 53 plus 30, that gives you 83, plus 76 gives you 159. So we are approximating that to 160, right? So let us look at these numbers, and rather let us put the numbers. So we have Mahindra on one side. Now, what is Mahindra? Mahindra, if I go by our numbers, Mahindra can be written as 16 because we have ignored two digits from the right, and we can see that the top six car manufacturers is 160. Now we will try to conclude about total. You see, they have said that top six car manufacturers are contributing 80% of the market share. So we can say that if the total is 100, then top six is 80, right? And you see, 160 is double of 80, or 80 is half of 160. Then what is half of 16? That will be 8, right? So then we can say that Mahindra would be 8 out of 100. Hence, we can say market share of Mahindra will be nothing but 8%, right? So that will be your answer. You see, market share means what is the percentage contribution in the entire industry. So how much is Mahindra out of total? That is 8 out of 100, and hence we can comfortably say that our answer will be 8%. You see, we were trying to avoid too much of calculation. I hope that approach is well understood. Now, let us proceed to the next question. While I go to the next question, definitely I would like to erase everything that we have done so far so that I can get some space to solve this. Or we can just, take the help of the space which is available on the right top corner. Let's see if that is sufficient. Now, you see, what we will do over here to find rank number 3 is to first apply our power of estimation. Remember what I said in the beginning, that most of the numbers are reducing when you go from top to bottom. So that might confirm, without doing any calculation, that Maruti and Hyundai will be among top two. So we know Maruti and Hyundai will be among top two. So then we will just focus on the other company. Now we have to find the third highest. So I'm slightly confused between Tata Motors and Mahindra. So definitely out of Tata Motors and Mahindra, whosoever is better or whichever is higher will be my answer. Now, how do I decide that? So then again, we can ignore two digits from the right, because see, you're not having to calculate the total. Even if I do that, I don't have to be very precise. I just have to compare. So rather than doing that, rather than finding out the total, what I'll do over here is I will calculate Tata minus Mahindra for each of these years. And when I do that, I will consider the numbers by ignoring two digits from the right. For example, if you notice over here, we will do 25 minus 14, which will give you plus 11. So I'm just writing the signs so that you know which one is more. Then we have 23 minus 16, which will be plus 7. Then we have 21 minus 23, which is minus 2. Then we have 25 minus 29, which is minus 4. And then we have 23 minus 27 minus 43, which will be minus 16. So without doing any calculation, you can easily understand this will be negative. So if Tata minus Mahindra is negative, we can say that Mahindra is more than Tata. So out of Tata and Mahindra, if Mahindra is more, then definitely Mahindra will be the third ranked company, right? Because we have already found out that Maruti and Hyundai will be ranked number 1 and 2. So rank number 3 will be whichever is higher in Tata and Mahindra, that will be rank number 3. And we know now that is nothing but Mahindra. So that is rank number 3. So you see how our ability to approximate can help in some of these situations, right? So we will proceed to the next one. In this case, definitely we are supposed to by looking at the options, you should make out that now we are probably now we won't be able to do approximation. Reason being, the options are so close, so we might have to calculate the exact values. Now the question is, how do we do that? Let's see. In this case, it has been said that in 2007-8, this guy promised 100% growth. 100% means double. Double of what? Double of 6842. So that is what he expected. And then uh, that was expected in next year after this. So from 11816, what was the expected percentage growth? That's the question. So we can do this next year, which is 13, sorry, 12, 13 was expected to be this, minus 11, 12, that is 11816. And then we can divide it by 11816. Right now, you see 42 into 2 is 84. 84 minus 16 gives you 68. Similarly, 68 into 2 gives you 136. 136 minus 118 gives you 18. So we have 1868 by 11816. That's the fraction. Now we have to calculate the percentage. And we have to be very precise. Now, how do we do that? Now, let us look at two things. One is, if I look at the options, it will help me to understand how do we start. Remember what I told you? Imagine you don't have any calculator, so then you have to apply some tricks. You see, if I look at the options, I can find out the options are around 15%. And why 15% is convenient? Because we can break 15% as 10% and 5%. So this will be with respect to 11816, because that's the base value. Now 10% is obtained by shifting the decimal one place to the left, right? So it will be 1181.6, and 5% will be just half of that, which will be around 590 or 591, whatever you say. So this will sum up to, you see, approx, 1770. Approx, I'm saying. Now we are at 15%. So we understand that we have to increase this by around 100, because we are at 1868. But then if I apply 1%, then I have to add, 118.16. And that way I will definitely cross 1868. So 16% will be more than the desired result, which is supposed to be 1868. So my answer will be very close to 16%, but slightly lower than that, right? It will be slightly lower than 16%. So what answer do you think will be most appropriate? Yes, it is 15.8. Correct? It will be very close to 16, you see, but slightly lower than 16. And hence we can comfortably choose 15.8% as our answer, right? So that gives us the answer of question number 3. I hope that was clear. Now we will move on to the next question, which is about question number 4. So let us focus on question number 4. You see, I will be solving up to question number 5, and then I will expect you all to take the other questions as homework and try some of these techniques to answer the questions without doing too much of calculations. If time permits, today at the end of the session, I will also show you a couple of more questions to solve, but as such, I think this will give you complete clarity. Now let us look at question number 4. Hyundai is expected to grow by 10% in 12-13. Now 11-12, if I look at Hyundai, that is 2933. So Hyundai is supposed to become, as of now, I can say that Hyundai is 2933 in this year. Um, so it will grow by another 293.3, and then we will have the next year's value after that increment, right? And then we can say that Tata Motors as of now is 2713, which is 220 less than what Hyundai is. So if Tata Motor has to, so this is about Hyundai and this is about Tata Motor. So if you see, if Tata Motor needs to catch up with the next year's value of Hyundai, then it has to grow by not only 220, but also another 293.3. So this will be 513.3. But they have said that it is going to cross Okay, it is going to uh, overtake, right? So it has to sell more than that so that it can overtake. So from the options, given, it should be 514. However, if you look at it more precisely, this value implies, a number which is 51330. Why? Because all these numbers are in hundreds. So after adding two zeros, it will give you the correct figure. So in that sense, your precise answer could also be 51331 units, because it just need to produce one more unit to cross or overtake the value of Hyundai next year. However, based on the given options in the questions, we can definitely choose 514, which is more than 513.3. So that will ensure that Tata Motor overtakes Hyundai. All right. So now let us move on to question number 5. All of you, please focus on question number 5. Approximately percentage sales of Tata Motors less than Hyundai. 2009-10 they're saying. So this is the year we are talking about. Again, they are talking about approximation. So we can definitely ignore two digits from the right. That is something that we have done comfortably earlier also, and we will focus on Tata Motors and Hyundai. So in percentage calculations, you should always remember the words like of or than. Whatever appears after that becomes the base value. So in this case, Hyundai will be the base value, and the difference between Hyundai and Tata will go in the numerator. So what I'll have is 33 minus 12 by 21. That will go in the numerator, right? So what we have here, I'm so sorry, this will be 21. So we have, sorry, 33 this is. So we have 12 by 33, right? Now there are two ways to do this. If you notice, we can say this will be, if I cut by 4, cut by 3, it will be 4 by 11. Now remember, 1 by 11, if you notice our earlier sessions on percentage profit loss, we have, you see, 4 by 11 is 4 times of 9.09, that is 36.36. So this is approximately 37%, right? So we can answer 37%. The other way of looking at it is, if you look at 12 by 33, we can compare with 12 by 36 and 12 by 30. Definitely it will be in between. In fact, the relation will look like this. Now 12 by 36 is 33.33 because it is one third, right? This is one third, while this is 40%. So we can definitely say that our answer will be in between, you see, 33.33% and 40%. That also helps us to conclude our answer choice out of the options, which has to be 37%, right? So these are the ways that you can solve these kind of questions. These are the kind of techniques and quick tricks which can be applied while solving questions on data interpretation, right, guys? Having said that, I will definitely take you through another set which will be on pie charts, which is another very frequently asked types in data interpretation. So please focus on this and try to answer the questions. You see, at times in pie charts, we can get information in terms of the percentage contribution. That is basically the purpose of pie charts. But we could also have the contributions, in the terms of degree, which is nothing but the angle it holds. For example, this angle is supposed to be 90 degrees. Similarly, this angle is supposed to be 54 degrees. So that is how the values will emerge. So when the values are given in degree, we can definitely say the sum of all these will be 360 degrees, because that is basically the sum of all the angles. A full rotation of a circle is about 360 degrees. But over here, the total has been given as 330. So if I want to compare the actual and the degree value, we can definitely say that 330 US dollar, billion dollar, is equivalent to 360 which is what we have in degree. So the ratio of these two will be 11 and 12, right? So this may help us to compare the actual value vis-a-vis the degree value. Now, one advice is unless and until a specific question compels you to, uh, find out the actual value, don't waste your time doing that. Maybe you can save little bit of time and the energy for calculations that way. For example, if I look at question number 1, you see, if you read the question and if you look at the options, nowhere there is any mention of um, uh, you know US dollar or INR or any monetary value, which means we can safely assume that the total export to be 360. So if I do that, if I do assume that for 11 12 that the total export is 360, they're asking what will be the percentage growth from 11 12 to 12 13. So we will look at that. But before that, please understand, since they're talking about agri, we can see agri products is contributing 60 degrees. So we can now say that this is equivalent to 60 in real value because we have taken the total as 360. Now we are expecting 44% growth in this. So the value next year will be 60 into 144 by 100. Then it also says that next year it contributes 20%. So this is 20%. Now we know 20% is 1/5, right? So the value of agri in the next year happens to be 20% or 1/5 of the total export in 12-13. So then can we not say the total export in 12-13 will be 5 times of what we have the value of agri? Right? So we got the total value of export in the year 12-13. Now we are supposed to calculate the percentage growth. So we can look at the next year's value, which is 60 into 144 by 100 into 5 minus 360, divide by 360, and then we'll convert this into percentage. But before I do that, let us cancel 60 from either side. So we have 6 here, 6 here. Then we can divide by 6. Then this becomes 24 because 144 by 6 is 24. This is 1, this is 1, and 24 into 5 is 120. So what we have ultimately is 120 by 100 minus 1, which is 20 by 100. Definitely that will amount to 20%, right? You see, this value is nothing but 20%. So you see, your answer to the first question is 20%. So that makes it so simple, no? That is how you can calculate, right? That is how you should answer question number 1. Now let us look at question number 2. They're asking what is the difference in exports of agri products and ores and minerals in 11-12 in US dollar. Now this time we have to convert and calculate the actual value. But we know that ores and minerals and agri products are 54 degree and 60 degree respectively. So the difference in terms of degree value is 6. So sorry, it will be 6 degree. So I can put that 6 here, then how much will this be? So if this is half, 6 is half of 12, then my answer will be half of 11, which is 5.5, isn't it? So then you can so easily find the answer and so quickly find the answer, which is given in option number 1. That is 5.5. All right. So your answer to this question, you see, is 5.5. So that is how you should look at this kind of questions. All right. So we will move on to the next one now. Let's now look at the next question, which is question number 3. Let me first erase the screen for that. Let me create some space out here. So in question number 3, if you notice, they're talking about 12-13. They have talked about ores and minerals going up by 33.33%, and they are also talking about others. So how do we interpret from that? We will look at that. Now you see, in this particular case, we can definitely say that total export as of now, I'm again assuming that to be 360. Even if I have to find the actual value, you see that actual value can be found out later also. It is not necessary that you have to find the value right away, find the actual value right away. So we will find it later. As of now, let us look at how could we, you know, consider the values of ores and minerals. That is 90 as of now. Sorry, that is 54, which is right here. So we can write that value as 54, and then this is growing by 33.33%. This is nothing but 1/3, which means it will go up by 18. So the next year's value will be 72. Then we have others, which is out here. So others is 36, and that is growing by 30%, which is 30%, so 3/10 of 36, which is 10.8. So the next year's value will be 48.8. So the sum is 118.8. But is that my answer? No, because we started by assuming the degree value. So we have to convert the degree value into actual value. By now, we know that from degree to actual, if I have to convert, we can use this ratio. And we can say that this will basically be 118.8 into 11 by 12, which is again 118.8 into 1 minus 1 by 12, or we can say 118.8 minus 118.8 by 12. Now you don't have to complete the calculation, just observe that this is close to this is 118.8 or definitely, and this is, if I approximate this as 120, then 120 by 12 is close to 10. So if I subtract, we get 108.8. So that gives us a very close approximation to the actual answer, isn't it? Which is given in option number 4. Please remember all the time that I have been telling you earlier also, that all these things, all these kind of questions we should be answered without the help of calculators, which means your mental calculation should be very fast. That is why I am showing you techniques of this kind, so that you can arrive at the answer pretty fast. All right, now let us focus on the next question. Right, so in the next question, let's see what do we have. You see over here, we know that the IT and ITES as of now is contributing 90%, 90 degree. So let us look at the fourth question. So we know that when it was contributing 90 degree, then the total value is 360. But now we are downsizing this by 20%. Now 20% of 90 is 18, right? So the new value of IT will be 90 minus 18. But then the total will remain, total will also reduce by that much. And then we are supposed to find out the new angle. When they say new angle, then we have to multiply by 360, because this is the fractional contribution of IT given the new distribution. But one more thing, understand, although they are talking about the reduction in IT, but ores and minerals is not changing, and in the question they're talking about zones, ores and minerals, which is still 54 in terms of the value. So then after this we can find the answer. You see how we can divide this by 18. So this becomes 3, this becomes 20, this becomes 1. So we have 1080 by 19. So you can definitely divide it into several parts. You see, we have 1080, which has been broken into three parts, right? Um, so this is, let me just check, 950 plus, sorry, this will be 104 and um, um, just one second. This will be 114, sorry. So this will be 16. In fact, let me correct this. So this will be 114 and then this will be 16, right? So if I divide it parts by parts, you see 950 by 90, 19, that is 50, 114 by 19, that is 56, then 16 by 19. So 16 by 19 can be approximated as 16 by 20, which is 8 by 10 or 80% or zero point 0.8 in decimal. So my answer will be this 56 plus this 0.8, which is 56.8, correct? So that has been given here in option number 3. So that's your choice, that's your answer. All right, so that is the way you should answer this kind of questions, right? So let me now look at the next one. Let me erase the screen. In fact, let me just remove all the things. Now let us have some clear space. Definitely in question number 5, they have said that in the ores and minerals we will have to add 5.5 in actual. Now for 54 is the value of the ores and minerals part in degree. So if I convert 5.5 to degree, because it is given in actual, then remember that ratio 11 is to 12. So if I have to convert from actual to degree, I have to multiply by a factor of 12 by 11 instead of 11 by 12, which gives me 6. In fact, we can remember how we solved question number 2. So it will be 6 in degree. So we can say this will be the new value. But at the same time, this will also impact the total. That will also increase by the same amount. And then it will basically become uh, my answer after I multiply this by 100. So this becomes 60 by, so, 366. So if I divide by 6, it becomes 9 plus 1. So that is 10 by, um, uh, you know, 60 plus 1, that is 61. So it is very close to 10 by 60, but slightly less than that. 10 by 60 is 1 by 6, which is 16.66%. But over here, we don't have 60, we have 61. So my answer will be slightly less than 16.66%, yet very close to that. So you can comfortably choose option number 2 over here as your answer, right? So that will be your answer to question number 5. Now, if I just look at the 6th question, you see, now we are talking about 10-11, which is 1 year prior. So 10-11 is being compared with 11-12, which is the present year, and they are talking about total export. So total export as of now is 360, and it has been said that it grew by 20%. So if it grows by 20%, it will become 6/5 of what it was. Why? Because 20% is 1/5, so it becomes 1 plus 1/5. So this value will become 360 into 5 by 6 in the year prior. Similarly, if I look at gems and jewelry, it is right now 72, and as it says, it is growing by 33.33%, right, which is one third. So a growth of one third will imply a factor of 4 by 3. So in the year prior, it must have been 72 into 3/4. So if you have to look at the contribution, it will become 72 into 3/4 divided by 360 into 5 by 6, and then we have to find the angle, right? So then we need to multiply this by 360. The moment you do that, these 360s will cancel, right? And then you have this giving you 18, right? So what we have here is 54 into 6 by 5, right? Of course, that can be calculated easily because we can look at it as a 54 into 12 by 10. That is even easier for us to calculate, right? So that way we can say that our answer to this question will be 64.8. All right, so your answer to this question will be 64.8. I hope that was clear. All right, so you see, data interpretation, like logical reasoning, will not have any specific concepts that will make you worried. So all you have to do out here is to consider, you know, basic calculation techniques. Okay, so please focus on that.